Dans cette vidéo, je vous partage 5 stratégies faciles à appliquer pour faire passer votre anglais au niveau supérieur. Pas de miracle, pas de méthode secrète, mais des ajustements basés sur la science et la psychologie, faciles à mettre en place dès la fin de cette vidéo. Et si vous découvrez ma chaîne, moi c'est Gia, je suis coach d'anglais et j'aide les francophones à parler un anglais plus naturel et plus fluide. Alors, c'est parti. Now, in a perfect world, you wouldn't even need this video because you would just wake up so motivated. You would do all of your language studies, you'd even do grammar exercises. But if that is not you, and it is certainly not me, you don't need motivation. What you actually need is discipline, repeated enough times that it just becomes automatic. Studies show that habits actually form through repetition, not motivation. Thank God. For example, I've been running several times a week now for over 5 years. And despite what people probably imagine, I do not wake up motivated to go running. I wake up feeling terrible, but I don't actually really think about it. I just go. It's totally automatic. And that is exactly where we want to get as well with language learning, to automatic mode. Let's start with the first strategy. Find your why. In the 1930s, the founder of Toyota, Sakichi Toyoda, created a technique called the 5 whys to get to the root cause of a problem. All we need to do is ask why 5 times. I love using this method to really uncover the deep motivation behind our goals. Let's take an example. Here's my goal. I want to improve my English. Why? Because I want to progress in my career. Why? Because I want to earn more money. Why? Because I want to support my family properly. Why? Because I want my family to feel safe and secure. Number 5, why? Because my family is the most important thing in my life and I don't want them to experience the struggles that I did. Wow, right. So that's just, an example off the top of my head, but we've gone from something pretty generic, I want to improve my English, to something actually so much deeper, right? It's tied to love, responsibility, security, fear of failure. The real motivation for this person is not actually English, but what it represents for their life. So if your goals are very vague, it's so much easier to give up. But research actually shows that when your goals are tied to your personal values, you are much more likely to stay consistent. I invite you all actually to ask yourselves that question 5 times. Why do you want to improve your English? Or anything for that matter. And if you feel comfortable, tell me in the comments what's your real motivation. I think if we're really honest with ourselves, this exercise can be a little bit difficult, right? But it is so powerful because when things get difficult, this is the thing that is going to really keep pushing you forwards. So now that you know your why, your true motivation, let's move on to strategy number 2. And it is to consider the consequences. More specifically, the consequences of not achieving your goal. In the book Meditations for Mortals by Oliver Burkeman, he shares a really interesting quote. You are free to do whatever you like. You only have to face the consequences. Now, I love this quote because I think it really highlights how there are actually very few things in life we truly need to do. When you say, I have to do this project, I have to send this email, it only means that you are not willing to accept the consequences of not doing those things. But often, especially with long-term goals, it feels often much easier to not really think too much about those consequences. Close your eyes, imagine yourself in 20 years' time. Imagine that you do nothing. You never achieve that goal. Going along with the same example, right? Maybe you're never able to progress in your career and you're never able to provide your family with everything that they need. And you're looking back at your life. How do you feel? And then I want you to really contrast that with your why and let it create like a kind of sense of urgency. Let it push you to action. Fear of future regret is a really powerful driver of action, and it has been shown to be very good at promoting behavior change. Now, please do not misunderstand me. Do not make yourself feel terrible. Please do not do that. I simply want you to highlight to yourself that that is not the path that you want to choose. But now that you've chosen action, you need a plan. So step number 3, our third strategy, is to create a realistic plan. Thank you. I love a realistic plan because if your plan constantly breaks, it is not a good plan. Maybe you do have, let's say, 1 or 2 hours in the evening where you kind of just watch TV, relax, and you could use that time to learn English. But if you know that you are always exhausted and tired at that time, that is not a good time to learn English. Because time alone is not enough. You need time and you need energy. So be realistic with yourself. When do you have time and energy? For me, that is mostly in the mornings or the early afternoon. So think about what that is for you and really block that time out. To get started, you only really need 15 consistent minutes a day to see progress. So if you tell me, I'm too busy, I don't have time, I don't have 15 minutes a day, then it's not a time problem, it's a you problem. Because as much as I wish it were possible, you cannot get something for nothing. Sorry. I think a really great tip for getting started is to attach your learning activity to something that you already reliably do. If you take the train to work, maybe watch a YouTube video, or you walk the dog, maybe listen to a podcast. If you have reliably done this thing that you already do, then you know that you are also working towards your goal. And then little by little, these things will also become automatic. No extra time needed. So now we have a realistic schedule in mind. Our fourth strategy is, finally, to plan your method. Let me explain why it's so important to already know what you're going to do. Just like the theme of this video, it has nothing to do with motivation. It has to do with something called decision fatigue. It's this idea that we have actually a limited amount of decision-making capacity every day. Every decision tires us just a little bit. There was an experiment that was conducted, I'll link it below, on parole judges. The judges who decide whether prisoners will be able to get out of prison. In the morning, when the judges were fresh, prisoners actually had about a 70% chance of being released. But by the end of the day, that dropped to just 10%. Same judges, same laws, same prisoners. The only difference was the time of day. The judges weren't just suddenly meaner, they were just mentally exhausted. And when our brains are tired, they don't like risk. The easiest thing to do in that case is to do nothing. Now, this is exactly what happens to you when you sit down in the evening after a long day and you want to practice your English, but you freeze. You don't know what to do. Which app, which book, should I just watch a TV show, maybe a podcast? No idea. It's too much. And so what do? Probably nothing. You just need to choose one. Choose one main method and maybe one podcast, one app, okay? These secondary types of resources. If you would like a list of some of the resources that I recommend, there are not too many, you can download that for free from the description. I have one for English and for French. Please do not spend too much time planning. Sometimes we overplan because we feel like we're doing the thing, but we're actually just delaying doing the thing. Don't overplan. Pick something, do it properly, 3 months, then you can change. Bam. It's easy. I'm an overthinker. I love to overplan, but you're actually doing nothing. You don't learn by planning. You learn by doing. And you learn by doing imperfectly and then improving. Okay, so now you know how to do it. You're going to do it. But strategy number 5, I want to emphasize, you don't need to do it alone. And honestly, for most people, it is so much easier to stay consistent when you have somebody else there with you. So that might be an accountability buddy. I know there are lots of subreddits like accountability buddy or get motivated where you can look for a buddy. It might be somebody learning the same language as you. Maybe you're learning each other's languages. Whatever you like. Whatever floats your boat. People who report their progress to someone else have actually been shown to be more likely to achieve their goals. Sometimes we just like to show off a little bit. Just tell someone what you've been doing. But you might, like me, even prefer something like a conversation group. That really makes me motivated in my personal time to work on my language skills. And then every week or every couple of weeks, I go and I actually use those skills. It helps to really show me the tangible results of what I'm working on in private. You can find these kinds of groups very easily. I would look on places like Facebook, meetup.com. There are a lot of in-person language meetups. Some are just coffee, sometimes they're like board games. There are usually a lot of options. And if you are really serious about making progress, language coaching can also be a great option. Now, if you're in France and you do have a CPF budget that you would like to use towards improving your English, my personal recommendation for language coaching is my partner, Anglais. Now, I personally worked with them in the past as a language coach, so I know how amazing their coaching programs are. So with Anglify, your coach will prepare your program for you, so no decision fatigue. They'll create your activities and they will absolutely keep you accountable, right, with regular meetings. I think now is the perfect time to think about something like language coaching. If you are interested, you can find more information in the description. Are you ready? Here it is, the knowledge bomb of the video. You have to show up because no one can do it for you. No matter how good your favorite YouTuber is, no matter how good your language teacher is, no one can teach you a language. You have to learn it yourself. You have to do it. Sorry. I know. No one wants to know that. So my hope is that these 5 strategies are going to give you that push and give you that momentum to get started, to become independent and automatic. But not a robot. Automatic. Don't know. Yeah. Not like AI. Yeah. Right. If you are embarking on maybe an English learning journey or a language learning journey, you should subscribe to this channel. Obviously. First step. I should have said that first. Yes, if you would like a list of the resources that I recommend, again, the link is in the description. And if you're interested in language coaching with Anglify, the link is in the description. God, I've spoilt you, haven't I? So many links. If you want a bit of inspiration on how to apply these strategies, have a look at this video where I talk about how I learned French, and I'll see you soon. Bye.